Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez.
I'm Hillary Rodriguez.
And today we are going to be reviewing My Lil Everdell. This game was published in 2022 by Starling Games. It's designed by James Wilson and Clarissa Wilson, and is art by Andrew Bosley and Jackie Davis.
It's a 1 to 4 player game, and it says it plays in about 30 minutes, which I think it definitely can. It's also going to depend on the age of the kids that you're playing with. It does say it's a 6 and up game. I think that mainly has to do with the fact that there's not really a lot of reading involved in this game. It's mostly just being able to recognize the icons. So I think that's just going to depend on your kid, whether this is a game that's going to be a good game for them or not. So, but we'll go into a little bit more of what our thoughts on that are a little later.
So the main mechanisms of this are worker placement and set collection, and you know it's a very obviously kind of basic version of that, but definitely still those mechanisms, which is great. And I'll go into more of it in theme, but you're basically the kids of the animals in Everdell, and you're trying to build a pretend city and have parades in them.
And just on a side note, we are going to be reviewing the larger regular Everdell game as well. So if you're interested in that, check out that video as well. And we'll do a little bit of comparison throughout the video.
Yeah, I'm hoping to release these, if maybe not the exact same time, just because that's weird. But I might do them probably within a day of each other, just so that they're relatively back to back.
So the artwork of this game is really well done. It's very like almost realistic animals, but then they're doing human type things. The main artist does do both games, so the artwork style is very similar. So if you are familiar with Everdell, the artwork in here is basically the same. It's just it's a little bit lighter since it is a kids game, or at least geared towards kids.
Yeah, the whole thing just feels super serene to me. Like, I want to go hang out with these animals in the misty forest or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just feels very peaceful. Everything about it just feels so peaceful to me, which is nice. You know, that's true in Big Everdell too. But if you're at all worried about any kind of content for kids, I don't think you have to worry about anything in this. It's all very, very cute. You know, little animals in outfits. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, it kind of gave me a little bit nostalgia for some of the cartoons I grew up watching, where I think the bigger Everdell, there are some cards that are just a little bit darker, so it kind of reminds me a little bit more of the movies that I would watch as a kid, where like there was a little bit more darker looming bad guy going on. So
yeah, I remember when we were kids and like the movies were like built to traumatize us.
Yeah.
Good times. It's a lot gentler now, I gotta say, watching some of the stuff kids watch. Yeah, no trauma here. It's I don't think there's any trauma in this. The components are really good. I'm pretty certain that what I have is just the regular retail version. I got it from a retail vendor at a local convention we have here. But it has like really deluxe components. So you can use just like the cardboard tokens for the various resources in the game, but it also comes with like little pink, kind of squishy berries for the berries. There's, little yellowish, orangish crystals for the resin, and little plastic logs for the wood. So I mean, I was shocked. I just didn't realize it would come with that kind of nice, because it's not a very expensive game even. It wasn't crazy.
I could be wrong, but I believe that the components are the same in the Lil Everdell as the Big Everdell, minus the regular Everdell has like a few more resources, or at least one more. But yeah, like the components are really nice. I do like that it comes with both the nicer tokens and the cardboard tokens. Just because it is a game geared towards kids tend to lose game pieces. So, if you have a kid that's prone to lose game pieces, you can start off with the cardboard ones and save the nicer components till they're a little older. But, or you can use both. Like if you lose a bunch of the components of one, you can still use the nicer components and mix and match them. So,
yeah, absolutely. Now the My Lil Everdell does not have the giant cardboard tree that Big Everdell has, that half the people don't use anyway, because it's like if you're playing around a table, it's a big, massive visual blockade. So it doesn't have that, which is fine. I think the tree looks cool in Big Everdell, but totally unnecessary, and I don't think it would last long with potentially 6-year-olds messing with it. What I do like about this has that the big one doesn't, is it has little cardboard crates that you build. They're very easy to build, that your various resources go into.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that bothers me a little is, they have 4, so 1 for each normal resource, and then 1 for the victory point, like, coin things. And the victory point ones won't all fit in there at all. Like, they're spilling. The other ones work fine. The victory point ones are spilling everywhere. I think it would have been cool if they had just, like, a little bit bigger one to manage that.
I think it would have been better if they just did 2 of them, because you have different points costs too. Like, there's, like, 1 and I believe 3 point victories. So, to have 1 for each one, because you kind of need to have them separate out anyways. So.
Yeah, and I say that, but it's like a super minor complaint. Mm-hmm. Most gamers are probably used to having little piles of components, or they have their own little bowls they use to put them in or whatever. This is a minor thing, but I just think it's weird. Like, if you're going to give me a thing for it, go and make it fit. I mean, that makes sense to me, but it's fine. It doesn't even affect my score. It's such like a minor thing, but it's there. Just thought I'd point it out.
Yeah. There are dice with this game. The icons are just kind of like vinyl wrapped stickers on the dice, so that it's not engraved. Which, I think in general will be fine. I do have a little concerns about how that might hold up over time, especially being that it is a kid game. So, how many times do kids roll the dice off the tables, or like we have one kid that still likes to put things in their mouths. Mm. So I do have a little concern about that, but I think for the amount of gameplays you'll get out of that before that starts becoming an issue, I think it's not that big of an issue.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's okay unless, your kid or you does something really haywire with it. But if it comes down to it, by that point, you'll probably play this game so much that it may not be that big a deal. Just get another copy if you really want to. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've gotten a heck of a lot of play out of it at that point. So. Yeah. Okay, so in My Lil Everdell, you were playing as, like, the kids of the grown-up animals in Big Everdell, basically, and you're trying to build your own pretend city, and you're trying to have parades for your pretend city, basically, and you have to get all the various resources to do that. You can use those resources to, like, get or to play characters out or places out, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because you are trying to accomplish certain things, because there's like a set collection aspect, but you can kind of imagine a kid being like, oh, I want to have like so many like critter friends on this thing, like I feel like there is, like, you could look at this in an abstract way, because I mean, it's not like I'm super thinking about the theme the whole time, but I do think it's there personally. Yeah. I don't know, how do you feel?
No, I think that, like, there's definitely a theme there. I think for us it's a little bit harder to gauge what the theme was, because when we were playing with our daughter, she came up with kind of her own theme, and so we're trying to kind of engage the rules of the game with the story that she was trying to tell. So, I think we would probably have to play it by ourselves for me to get a really good gauge on how much the theme is actually integrated into the game. But I do think that it is kind of there. Like, I did notice that, the artwork, like, I wasn't sure if the artwork was just more kid friendly because it's a kid game, or if they were actually kids, but, like, knowing that you are playing as the kids, it definitely, I can see that in the artwork now, so.
Yeah, so, like, when we played with our daughter, what she was doing was she decided that what she's actually doing is trying to have a party. And so her thought was, well, I need to have as many berries especially as possible, but really she was trying to hoard the components and not play on cards. So what we had to do was be like, oh, but you know what would be really cool for you probably is if you got the princess to come to your party, and all you have to do is give up like a few berries, or, oh, don't you want her to be able to, like, be at the...
Don't you want face painting at your party?
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, all those various things that you could... And so we could look at these things and be like, oh, but wouldn't this be cool for your party? And just kind of, work with her idea for the theme and still kind of get her to play the game a little bit.
And her idea for the theme is actually kind of close to what the actual theme is. Yeah. So it actually worked pretty well, because, like, we were able to kind of, like, okay, if she's throwing a party, like, what would the kids in Everdell want at their party? Yeah, like they would want this. So,
Yeah.
and like the cards kind of represent those kind of things too. So
Yeah, we just had to kind of talk her into that, because at first she was just like, I'm just going to get all the berries. I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to run out of berries. We're not going to be able to like have berries for us. What do we do? So, there's that. If you have a kid that doesn't like to stay on task as far as games go, hey, I'd love to hear some of the themes they come up with. If you get a good one, I mean, let me know, because I think that's hilarious. But yeah, I like it. Not a super heavily dripping with theme game, but it's definitely there, and I think it's a fun one.
So overall, I think that this game is really well done. I think it's a very simplified version of the normal Everdell game. So if you have that game and you have kids, I think this is a great game to add to your collection. Even if you don't have kids, but you have people that like are kind of interested in games, but like they're not used to games, I think this is a really good introductory game to a worker placement type game. And so it's a good way to ease them into that. And then if they like that, then you can very easily adjust them and get them to play the bigger Everdell game. Because the regular Everdell is a heavier game, but if you've we actually played the My Lil Everdell before we played the bigger Everdell, and it was really easy to transition into it, because it was like, okay, it's just like this, except for we gotta add these few things. Honestly, there's times where I could see myself picking to play My Lil Everdell over the Everdell if I just am in a mood for a lighter weight game. So
yeah, there's a little less hard decisions, especially bigger Everdell, especially towards the end. I found myself really trying to plot out a million things to see what I could do to maximize my points, and I'm just not as worried about it in My Lil Everdell.
Mm-hmm.
The cards aren't as complicated in what they do for the most part. One thing that I really like in this one, especially for kids, is if you're playing Big Everdell, in addition to the points you get for just the cards you put out into your town, there's also these cards that are basically goals that you're trying to get, which usually involve getting a certain set of cards. And in Big Everdell, once someone has gotten one of those sets, that goal is gone, so no one else can get it. And if you're playing, I don't mind that, that's fine, especially because Big Everdell's not a super long game either. But if you're playing with kids and they're about to get one of those, and then someone swoops in and gets it first, I'm pretty sure our kid wouldn't handle that super great. Yeah. I don't think so. But in My Lil Everdell, the parades are what count as those goals here. So if someone goes and gets one right before the kid does, that's okay, because it's basically a stack of that particular event, and the top one is just worth the most points. So your kid or whatever could still get it and just get one less point if they're the next one. So it's not it completely removes that. You could still have worked towards something and get something out of it. But it's just, it rewards you for getting there a little faster. But I think that's much less frustrating for kids and for some adults. So I think it's a good, I don't want to say Everdell is a mean game. It just doesn't. The frustrations that could arise are either minimized or just not even there.
Yeah.
In My Lil Everdell, I felt.
Yeah, and the goals are closely enough aligned that even if someone does swoop in and get to the goal that you're working towards first, you might be able to kind of switch gears really quickly and be first to achieve one of the other goals too. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, really nice as far as that goes. And I agree, this is really, it's a great gateway game, because those mechanisms it has are, you can only simplify those so much. It is those mechanisms. It's just that they make it so the decisions aren't that hard as for what you're going to do. But once you've done that, it's easy enough to go either to Bigger Everdell or even to another game with those similar mechanisms. And it's just a step up, especially for grown-ups. And much like you, there would be times where I think I'd want to play My Lil Everdell over Everdell. Everdell's not a super heavy game or anything, but if you really just want to have a super chill evening and not think about it so hard, maybe you've been playing games all night, you just want to have a nice relaxing one at the end, it's great for that. Like I said, you're not going to be stressing your brain out. There's still thought. I'm not saying it's nothing, but it's a much more mellow feeling game. And so yeah, there would be times where I would pick that as well, I think.
So, my overall score for this game is going to be a 9. I really enjoy this game a lot. And actually, I don't even have a specific reason why it's not a 10, other than I don't typically give out 10s unless I'm just really absolutely blown away by the
I know,
game.
I'm only 10 for you, honey.
But, you know, I really enjoy it a lot. I do think that it's a really good introductory game, both for kids and adults. You know, I think it has enough complexity that your adults and your gamers aren't going to get too bored with the game. But it's, you know, it still is easy enough that they can pick up and start learning the mechanics, and then go on to bigger worker placement games like Everdell and beyond. So
all right, for me, I'm gonna actually give this a split rating. I don't like to do that too often, but I think it's appropriate here. So if you're playing with kids or you're playing with someone who's very new to gaming, I'd say this is a 9, because it really does, it gives you like real mechanisms that are in, you know, gamer games. It just simplified a little bit. I think it's an awesome gateway game for that, and it's still interesting for adults or adults who are generally gamers to play as well. Like, it's not so dumbed down that you're like, let's just get through this. It's an enjoyable game on its own. So that being said, if you are playing with just a group of gamers who are like already familiar with these kind of mechanisms, I'd give it a 7 there. Not again, that is still a good score, and it is still an enjoyable game. But I do think that the longevity of this game is going to be cut down quite a bit, because there's just not a lot of variety from one game to the next. I mean, different cards could come out, but it's not going to change things up dramatically. And I think eventually, I don't know how many games it'll take, but eventually you're going to play it enough where it's like, okay, like I know the combinations of cards, and I get it. And there's not going to feel like there's any new twists, really. Depending on how many times you typically play a game anyway, like you might still get enough gameplay out of this that's not even an issue for you.
yeah, I think you definitely can. You know, and like I said, it's, you know, even if you're not playing with kids or even new players, like I can see this being a game to like take with conventions, so that, like, you know, like when you have that little bit of downtime in between the last game you played and the next game that you're going to be playing, you know, you can pull this out and play this pretty quickly, and, you know, still get a game in, and, you know, have a little bit of that downtime, kind of having fun, but kind of resting your brain a little bit. So
I agree. So that's pretty good. We got 2 9s kind of, and a 7 kind of. So, you know, depending on your group, I gave it a 9 or 7. So either way, very good scores. I'm excited to play this game more, and eventually use it to turn the children into bigger gamers. We'll see. So coming up on the channel, we're going to be reviewing the Grand Archive trading card game, and then we will do a video where we kind of compare that to Lorcana, and whichever one comes out ahead there, if one does, we're going to compare that to Magic the Gathering in another video. So that's all coming down the pipeline. It's going to take a while to get there, because this is a lot of games that we have to like feel like we have a grip on enough that we can talk about them in a reasonable way. But nonetheless, this is kind of a long-term plan. We are going to be reviewing other normal board games in the meantime as well. There's a lot of games to pick from, like all the Kickstarters, all of them ever are arriving or shipping.
yeah,
I have
starting to get buried.
Yeah, I'm getting all these emails like, oh, it's reached the dock now, and blah. Like, oh my god, like what can you guys? I mean, it's nice, but spread it out, you guys. Everything happened at once, but that's fine. So I've got several like here now that we could certainly do, and I'm just trying to decide between them. One that we might do, and I'll tell you why, is there's a game called The Last Podcast on the Left Presents The Real Truth. And the reason why I'm considering that, it's weird, I don't hear that many people talk about this game, but of all my videos, the unboxing of that video is the one with the second highest views. The only thing that beats it is the review of Tabriz, which we're probably one of the first people to review it, and it was, you know, is before it was even on Kickstarter. It's from a very, very popular designer, and so I was looking through my videos. I was like, "That's the second place one." Like, real? Like, I mean, I'm not insulting that game either. It's just that I would not have guessed at all that was going to be in that ballpark.
It's also a game that I'm actually really excited to play, so that's probably going to be my vote.
Yeah. So if some of you are like, what is this game? Perhaps we'll be telling you. There's a lot of choices. Seriously, I'm over here like, I want to play all this stuff. But anyway, we'll be reviewing something. I just don't know what. As soon as we do know what, if we record a video, I will let you know then. But right now, it's in the air, though. I know your vote. So, could happen. All right. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you know about the next time we put out a video. Otherwise, look forward to see you all around the table again at All Games New and Old.
Bye.
Okay, so what is wrong with me? If you have, please hit like and subscribe. Wow. I'm just going to come out and say this. This is like the point that I'm editing this here. I've tried to say this thing like 12 times, I feel like, and I've giggled every time. Like, I don't know what's wrong. Look, if you've liked the video, just hit like and subscribe. Click the bell icon so you know the next time we put out a video. Otherwise, we look forward to see you all again at All Games New and Old. We'll be reviewing Everdell. That'll come out close to the same time as this. Bye. Hey, you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like it, share it, and click this button to subscribe. If you like that one, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
I cannot believe what I did in that one. Holy cow.
I can.
Of course you can. All right. Anyway, we'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.